Race in America Zing, S. We need new songs like Get Together by the Youngbloods and What the World Needs Now by Tom Clay from the 60s to move the new generation of people toward peace. Climate change facilitates the spread of algae blooms and it gives rise to conditions that create these blooms. But Rick doesn't believe in climate change, so Florida is safe. What a guy, with all the loonies/haters, guns, and assault rifles in this country, we probably ought to just leave all the flags at half-staff. Donald Trump, what a great model for this country. Name-calling, insults, serial marriages, dishonesty, poor impulse control, no substance like a TV show, Trump sues again. He doesn't want to pay taxes, but will gladly pay a lawyer. Detestable Donald. If you are providing anything for Trump, get your money first or he may rip you off by declaring bankruptcy again. All the push to send the polluted water south to the Everglades is a convenient solution to the East and West Coast estuary problems. But, at what price for Everglades that depends on clean, low-nutrient, water and seasonal hydrology, all the partisan chicken littles spouting doomsday predictions if either Trump or Clinton gets elected must have so little faith in the strength of the nation and the potential the constitutional checks and balances to work. Seriously, we are not electing a supreme dictator. The patriots that sustained our democracy did not die so that citizens must vote, but that they would have a right to vote and including the right to let others compromise their principles to vote for either of two disgusting candidates. A decrease in the property tax rate is a very lovely gesture, but it does very little to calm the angst created by those exorbitant raises. Our elected officials at all levels are so entrenched in political division, they can't work for their constituents on such popular and critical issues as gun control, Zika funding, fair districts, immigration reform, health care and protecting the environment. What an embarrassment, real class. The GOP trolls viciously condemned Obama's moving tribute to the 5 slain Dallas police officers. I thought the main requirement for Fox News hostesses getting and keeping their jobs was to please the big boss all the times. It seems all GOP legislatures are determined to accomplish their goal, keep poor people poor and help the sick die. Tallahassee has too many warmed-over political candidates. Political correctness can never overcome what we know to be true. Would that be the same non-interference provision in place the evening you neglected to hang a sock on your office door? It must be an embarrassment for a grown man to have to be vetted by the children for VP of the U.S. When your intention is to enter and exit the outside roundabout lane, stay out of the inside lane. Because it confuses the incoming vehicle. Egomaniacal, narcissistic, self-aggrandizing, bloviating bully. If the shoe fits. Our prez will never, never utter that word. Riot. Has there ever been an instance where a white person was killed by a policeman that resulted in white people rioting in the streets? Just wondering. If a mole bumps into another mole, does he smell molasses? Voters are so disenfranchised with the presidential election this year. I predict a historic low voter turnout for the November vote. DeLeo headed to Washington to defend the defenseless. Yep, all lives matter, except the unborn, those can be tossed out as needed. And don't blame religion on my opinion, I'm an atheist. I just believe all lives are matter. Birth control pills exempt, condoms taxable. Unacceptable. I'm filing a lawsuit. The only time I see sweaty nerds out of the house is for comic book and anime conventions. Now I can meet up with them at the local park and catch some Pikachus. Thanks Pokemon Go, not only are we meeting people, but it's also getting us moving. I've walked 10+ in less than a week. Who knew the simplest answer to combating the obesity epidemic would be Pokemon? Michelle Obama needs to take some notes. I'd be more sympathetic about the tampon tax if Medicare would cover my Viagra. My favorite thing about music is that the math always works out. Justice Ginsberg can't imagine what this country will be like if Trump is elected. I can't imagine what it will be like if either Trump or Hillary gets elected. Does that mean I have twice the imagination of Justice Ginsberg or only half as much? The only way that Bernie Sanders supporters could vote for Trump is if they don't have a clue as to what Bernie Sanders stands for. Being rude, disrespectful, and mean-spirited is only telling it like it is, if that is your outlook on life. The first yearbook published at the U of Florida in 1910 was called the Seminole. Gators don't get much right. Should I buy a gun or should I go? What other countries have the Second Amendment woes? The old railroad bridge over Monroe Street looks better than the new one. Our veterans protected our freedom to protest everything and anything. How about Justice Ginsberg to be the GOP nominee? Trump and his 3 VP choices, 4 old, fat, white guys, who are so out of touch that it makes you think, what the hell is going on? Maybe we should ban old, fat, white guys from the homeland until we can figure it out. Wouldn't need big walls to keep old, fat, white guys out. Make Trump pay for it. 4,472 black men killed by black men annually from 2009 to 2013. Where are all the Black Lives Matter folks, mayor, commissioners, pastors, etc. been? Well, NBC News story, Florida's toxic algae are damaging more than the coastline, it's destroying the local economy, too. Time to clean up your mess, Rick. Consider this, all lives matter. Will George W. be appearing on Dancing with the Stars? Wouldn't it be wonderful if all the experts would just shut up for about a week? Amazing. I gave the IRS telephone scammer a fake name and fake social security number, and he still found my record and said that I owed them $7,500. Yes, it is time for a woman president, just not the woman that is running now. If you enjoy our democracy, bite the bullet and don't vote for HRC. Wait for a woman of character that won't destroy our country via the Supreme Court appointments. 2 things will get this country back on track: a long-term free mental health plan and a guaranteed quality education K-12 for all citizens of the USA. FTP-BTP. Many TCC faculty are anxiously checking their mailboxes this week. Happy voting! Trump asserts that the nominating process is rigged against him. Too bad it isn't. If you really think Black Lives Matter, you might be more concerned with the number of blacks killed by other blacks. Just saying. Sheriff candidates Wood and Mills say they're Dems but switched to NPA because it gives them a better chance of winning? Such opportunistic disloyalty is the very definition of Dino, and will result in their political extinction. Hillary less trustworthy than con man Don? Heimlich maneuver, please. When the flames of discord threaten our nation, too many of us, including our leaders, rush in with buckets of gasoline instead of buckets of water. The feds have Hillary's emails, but Pon's email server. Pon's CI scheme definition: when a fraudulent school superintendent gets elected for a third term. If President Obama means to bring racial harmony amongst us, he would say something to the Black Panther Party planning to be armed protesters at the GOP convention in Cleveland. Don't hold your breath. Grannies with concealed weapons permits, beware of getting shot with your own gun. Is anyone else getting tired of President Obama lecturing us on how bad we are as a people while describing the actions of groups of thugs and barbarians as acceptable and necessary? Get the Dem out of our White House, please. I see where several media hacks and mindless tweeters had to find President Bush's swaying as offensive. Also, none of them noticed that President Obama had to bring up his political agenda in this moment of grief. Typical. The Paterno family needs to zip it. The fact is, at some point Joe knew and did absolutely nothing. I guess Mary Thomas figured Latika Thomas wouldn't go over so well with her anti-immigration position. Submit your zing at Tallahassee.com/zing